Hello, in this second half of Act 1, Scene 1, we move from conflict and brawls and fights to a discussion of what Romeo's like. Romeo is established in this scene as a Petrarchan lover, a figure more in love with the idea of love than anything else, a figure who suffers from unrequited love. Romeo loves a girl who doesn't love him back. Those two things make up a Petrarchan lover. So, Prince Aeschylus has just issued his warning, and we are left with the Montagues on stage. Montague asks, "Who set this ancient quarrel new abroach? Speak, nephew, were you near when it began? Who started it?" And Benvolio is speaking to the patriarch of the family, Lord Montague, and he explains what's what. "Here were the servants of your enemy, your adversary, and yours. Close fighting ere I did approach. I went to part them. In the instant came the fiery Tibble with his sword prepared. He was ready to fight, which, as he breathed defiance to my ears, he swung about his head and cut the winds, who, nothing hurt withal, hissed him in scorn. While we were interchanging thrusts and blows, came more and more, and fought on part and part, till the prince came, who parted." So some of the language there about Tybalt is really quite hyperbolic. Tybalt is fiery. Tybalt breathes defiance. Tybalt, who hisses in scorn and swings his sword so that it cuts the winds. Tybalt is sort of made out to be a more fearsome character than anyone else. Lady Montague is less concerned with issues to do with Tybalt, however, because Benvolio is almost saying, "Oh, look, I had to fight Tybalt. He's such a baddie." Lady Capulet just wants to know about Romeo. "Where is he? Saw you him today? I'm glad he wasn't at this fray. Glad he wasn't at the fight." And then here we see, and what we would want you to do is to find examples of Romeo being this lovesick little boy, really. "Madam, an hour before the worshipped sun peered forth the golden window of the east," so an hour before the sun came up, "a troubled mind drove me for a walk, where underneath the grove of sycamore, love, sick, love, sick, that westward rooteth from the city's side, so early waking did I see your son. I went towards him I made, but he was aware of me, and he stole into the hiding, the secrecy of the wood. I, measuring his affections by my own, I had a troubled mind, I could see he had a troubled mind, which then most sought where most might not be found, being one too many by my weary self pursued my humour, not pursuing his, and gladly shunned who gladly fed from me. He ran off." Montague says, "Yes, I know about this. We've heard of this. He's been like this for a while." He says, "Many a morning hath he there been seen, with tears augmenting the fresh morning's dew, adding clouds to clouds more clouds with his deep sighs." Life's so difficult for Romeo. But all so soon as the all-cheering sun should in the farthest east began to draw the shady curtains from Aurora's bed, away from light steals home my heavy son, and private in his chamber pens himself, shuts up his windows, locks fair daylight, and makes himself an artificial night. Black and portentous must this humour prove, unless good counsel, good advice, wisdom may the cause remove. So what image of Romeo is being created there? He likes the darkness. He keeps away from the light. He locks himself in his chamber, his bedroom. He shuts the windows. He keeps the daylight out. What image of Romeo is being created there? Montague wants some good advice. He wants to know what can be done to help. The issue is, "My noble uncle, do you know the reason? Do you know the cause? I neither know it nor can learn of him." "I don't know. He won't say." "Have you importuned him? Have you upset him, annoyed him?" We tried to find out, maybe? Both by myself and many other friends. You know, we've all tried to find out. But he, his own affections counsellor, he keeps it all in, doesn't tell anyone. He's to himself. I will not say how true, but to himself, so secret and so close, so far from sounding and discovery, as is the bud bit with an envious worm, ere he can spread his sweet leaves to the air, or dedicate his beauty to the sun. Could we but learn from whence his sorrows grow, we would as willingly give cure as know. What Shakespeare is doing here is establishing a fairly central theme, which is miscommunication and the absence of knowledge, because much of the text is driven by people not knowing stuff or not communicating the bits that they do know very clearly. At this particular stage, Montague doesn't know what the issue is with Romeo. We see this later in the text when nobody knows. Let's go for the obvious example. Nobody knows that Romeo and Juliet are married, other than the nurse and Friar Lawrence. But even then, fate conspires against them. Romeo, moping, self-absorbed, self-pitying Romeo now enters. I'm not a big fan of Romeo. He's not without merit, but he's deliberately cultivated as a figure who maybe is hard to sympathise with, at least at this stage. Benvolio, he's coming. You go, step aside. I'll know his grievance or be much denied. I would be happy. I would thou wert so happy by thy stay to hear true shrift confession. Come, madam, let's away. We'll go if he confesses, if he tells you. So in what way is Romeo like a Petrarchan lover here? That's what we want you to look for. Hello, cousin. Is the day so young? It's 9 o'clock. Ay me, sad hours seem long. Was that my father that just went so quickly? It was. What sadness lengthens your days, your hours? Not having that which makes them seem short. In love, out. Of love? Out of her favour where I am in love. Oh, that's that love, so gentle in his view, should be so tyrannous and rough in proof. Benvolio is saying there that love, which is usually so gentle, is being so rough with you. Gosh, isn't it difficult for you, Romeo? Romeo continues, alas, that love, whose view is muffled still, should without eyes see pathways to his will. Where shall we dine? Where are we going to eat? Oh, me. What fray was here? What happened? Yet tell me not, for I've heard it all. Don't tell me. Tell me, don't tell me. Here's much to do with hate. Hate, but more with love. Those side by side, that juxtaposition once more. Why then, O brawling love, O loving hate, O anything of nothing first create, O heavy lightness, serious vanity, misshapen chaos of well-seeming forms, feather of lead, bright smoke, cold fire, sick health, still waking sleep. That is not what it is. This love feel I, that feel no love in this. Dost thou not now laugh? No, cuz, I rather weep. Good heart, why, what? At thy good heart's oppression. Why, such is love's transgression. Griefs of mine own lie heavy in my breast, which thou wilt propagate to have it pressed with more of thine. This love that thou hast shown doth add more grief to too much of mine own. Love is a smoke raised with the fume of sighs, being purged, a fire sparkling in lover's eyes, being vexed, a sea nourished with lover's tears. What is it else? A madness most discreet, choking gall, and a preserving sweet. Goodbye, farewell, my cuz. I'll come with you, and if you leave me, you're doing me wrong. I've lost myself. I'm not here. This isn't Romeo. He's somewhere else. Tell me, who do you love? What? Shall I groan and tell thee? No, don't groan, but sadly tell me who. Bid a sick man in sadness make his will. Ah, word ill urged to one that is so ill. In sadness, cousin, I do love a woman. Right. I pull a face there because Romeo is so self-absorbed. What a Petrarchan lover he is. Um, he enjoys the feeling of chasing love. He enjoys the feeling of not being in love. He enjoys the self-pity. Um, and this is made clear by just how long-winded it is. So many words to say so little. But what does he say? Benvolio, why are you sad? Because I don't have that thing that helps make it seem short. The days make them seem short. What, love? Yeah, I'm out of love. I'm out of her favour where I am in love. This girl doesn't like me, whereas I love her. Unrequited love. Then Romeo notices the signs of the brawl that would be left on the stage. And we have a series of contradictions, specifically oxymorons: loving hate, heavy lightness, bright smoke, cold fire, still waking sleep. Numerous oxymorons, numerous contradictions. Maybe these help to convey the inner conflict that Romeo feels, that he loves someone who doesn't love him back. Maybe these oxymorons illustrate the sort of tyrannous effect of love on Romeo's mental well-being. He speaks in riddles. Brawling love, heavy lightness, it's almost nonsense. Look what love has made him into. The purpose of this section is so that when Romeo does meet Juliet in Act 1, Scene 5, it will be that thunderbolt moment. The dramatic transformation in his character is all the more apparent because he is so introspective, so unhappy in this particular moment, in this first scene. And so Shakespeare is establishing him as a figure who is preoccupied with love. He's not like all the other men on stage yet. He will be, but at this particular moment, Romeo does not conform to the hypermasculinity that is seen early on in Act 1, Scene 1, and then later on in the text as well. In these lines in blue, Romeo describes love. It's a smoke raised with the fume of sighs, being purged, a fire sparkling in lover's eyes, being vexed, a sea nourished. Love makes you cry, it's nourished with tears. But perhaps the most interesting of the lines, what is it else? He says, love is a madness, most discreet. It's a hidden madness. It chokes you, but it preserves you. A gall is a poison. Love is a poison, but it preserves you. And so it taints you, it infects you. It's kind of a disease, but wow, is it one hell of a disease. It's a disease he wants because love is intoxicating, it's nourishing, it's preserving. Romeo says then that Romeo is not Romeo. He's not even there. I'm not Romeo anymore. He's gone. Romeo's gone. And so what he's suggesting here is that Benvolio is wanting him to make himself sicker by telling him what the issue is. That's where he explains, I do love a woman. It's all a woman's fault. This is what women do to you. God. Sorry for the lengthy pause there. I was almost interrupted, but then I wasn't. And then they discuss, oh, yeah, I thought it was love, Benvolio says. I aimed so near when I supposed you loved. Right good markman, yeah. And she's fair, she's beautiful. She's so beautiful. And then Benvolio sort of echoes some of what we have seen, some of the misogynistic, sexist, lust-inspired, sex-motivated attitudes seen by Samson and Gregory earlier on. He says, "A right fair mark, fair coz, is soonest hit," referring to a woman as a mark, something to be sort of captured, something to be hit, and then you move on, is not necessarily very romantic. Maybe it's quite modern, I guess, but not romantic. Benvolio is saying, have sex with her and that'll make it all go away. Romeo explains, she'll not be hit with Cupid's arrow. She hath Dian's wit. Diana, the goddess of chastity and hunting, but mainly the chastity is relevant here. Chastity meaning to be chaste, to be virginal, to be pure. She hath Dian's wit, and in strong proof of chastity well armed. From love's weak childish bow she lives unharmed. She will not stay the siege of loving terms, nor bide the encounter of assailing eyes, nor ope her lap to saints seduced in gold. Oh, she's rich in beauty, only poor that, when she dies, with beauty dies her store. Wow, Romeo. With romantic words like this, I can't believe that girl does not want to have sex with you. Because what has he just said? He's referred to his love as a siege. Usually a siege is a sustained attack. He has suggested that she will not open her lap, her legs, to gold. Maybe it's actual money, but maybe it's presents. But he can't sort of bribe her. He can't give her anything. She's rich and beautiful. She's rich in beauty. She's so beautiful. But what's the point of being beautiful if you let your beauty die? If you don't use it while you've got it. So not the most romantic words. And so while Romeo is often, and I said it myself earlier, he's different to the other boys in that he's not hyper masculine. Well, maybe he's not that different to Samson and Gregory after all. He's still motivated by sex more than love. This is lust. This is passion. And we will see actually how the Friar Lawrence, refers to this later on in the text in Act 2, Scene 2, and other scenes. Romeo is not really motivated by love. He's motivated by appearance. Benvolio, she has sworn to live, she will live chaste. She has, and in that sparing makes huge waste. Some people suggest here that this girl has chosen to become a nun, so swearing to live chaste. Romeo sort of suggests that, giving yourself to God if one is to become a nun is a massive waste. For beauty, starved with her severity, cuts beauty off from all posterity. She is too fair, too wise, wisely too fair, to merit bliss by making me despair. She hath forsworn to love, and in that vow do I live dead. I live to tell it now. Listen to me, be ruled by me, forget her. Teach me how I should forget to think. Give liberty to your eyes. Look at other girls. Examine other beauties. Give freedom to your eyes. Look at other girls. Examine other beauties. Romeo says, "'Tis the way to call hers in question more. These happy masks, these faces that kiss fair ladies' brows, being black puts us in mind they hide the fair." People are hiding their beauty behind masks all the time. And there's an irony in that, given that he meets Juliet at a masked ball. He falls in love with a girl wearing a mask. He that is struck and blind cannot forget the precious treasure of his eyesight lost. Why is it ironic? Because Romeo's just said that he will not ever be able to forget this girl. She's called Rosaline. She will become referred to as that, but it's not said here. Perhaps most alarming here is the reference to Rosaline as a precious treasure. Because what it does is it objectifies Rosaline. It demonstrates that for Romeo, women are a bounty to be fought over and won. And again, although Romeo is often seen to be synonymous with romantic love. This ain't romantic love. Romeo says, last little section here, show me a mistress that is kind of all right. Look. Show me a mistress that is passing fair. What doth her beauty serve but as a note where I may read who passed that passing fair? Farewell. Thou canst not teach me to forget. I'll pay that doctrine, or else die in debt. I'll find someone for you, or else I owe you. Why is that idea ironic? Because, of course, he will forget. He will see Juliet and kabam! Who's Rosaline? And Friar Lawrence will chide him, rebuke him, criticize him for that dramatic transformation. And that's the end of Act 1, Scene 1. We move from the brawl of Samson and Gregory to the brawl of Tybalt and Benvolio, to the brawl of the citizens, to the brawl of Montague and Capulet. They all get involved. Hate, 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 hate. To this lengthy discussion of love with Romeo and Benvolio. Romeo who wants love but can't get it. Romeo, the Petrarchan lover. Therefore, setting up the rest of the play. We have been told in the prologue about two star-crossed lovers, but we've just been introduced to Romeo here, who is interested in a girl who doesn't love him back. So who could these two star-crossed lovers be? We know from the title of the play that they're Romeo and Juliet, but wow, Romeo has to go on quite the journey to get to being a star-crossed lover who takes his life. And that's where the interest in the text, one of the interests in the text, I should say, comes from. How does it come to pass that these two people from warring, fractious families come to suffer such a tragic consequence? We have to watch it, read it to find out. That's it for now. So I say goodbye. Bye-bye.